Hello there, welcome in to the latest edition of the SAU Football Coaches Show. I'm Daniel Gallegos, joined alongside head football coach Bill Keopple. And Coach, week 4 into the season, got Arkansas Tech coming up. Last weekend was a bit of a disappointing weekend. Family Day was a great crowd. Actually had to use overflow seating on the other side next to Harding. The Bisons came in nationally ranked number 16 in the coaches poll. Obviously, we talked last week about the challenges they pose offensively for your defense with running the triple option, and they were able to find success with that. But also, too, some of the positives for your mill riders. Offensively, you guys kept on going, pretty much keeping pace with what you've done not only this year but in years past. So talk a little bit about that game, particularly hit on offense.
Well, obviously it was a great crowd. We had great support came out. That's as crowd as I've ever seen in our stadium since I've been here. And obviously it didn't go our way. That's a credit to Harding and the job that Coach Huckabee and his staff is doing up there. Really, we thought going into the game, I didn't see any way they could repeat what they've been able to do in recent years with the fact that they had lost 9 starters off of their offensive football team. So we were feeling pretty good going in, and thought we had a really nice plan for them defensively, and didn't materialize for us. That hard to put a finger on it from a defensive standpoint. I know in 12 we go over to El Dorado and we totally stop them. They were in shock. They went back to the drawing board, came here the next year on national TV, made a few adjustments, had a few big plays against us, and in the last 2 years they've just had our number. And we got to go back to the drawing board. It's a very difficult offense to defend, and right now, from an offensive standpoint, Harding has a lot of answers. And you try to load up on the dive, you try to load up on the sweep, one or the other, then they're going to something else. And just a credit to them. It got into a little bit of a track meet there for a while. I thought we came out a little bit tentative on the offensive side of the football. It was the biggest game some of these guys had ever played in, and there was a little bit of tentativeness from us, and it took us a little bit to get going. Our first series couldn't have went down any worse. We couldn't have started the game any worse with a 3 and out and then a shank on a punt, and give them a short field, let them score. And but I was very proud of the way we fought back, and we were able to move the ball and do some things against Harding University that we haven't been able to do. In fact, nobody's been able to do in the last 4 years. There's only been 3 teams score more points than 2 teams score more points than what we did last Saturday against them, and that was Henderson the year they went undefeated, and then last year in the playoffs against Pittsburgh State. That's it. And it still comes down to winning games and doing the things that you got to do as a football team to win games, and we weren't up to the task. Saturday we had opportunities late. We were we were in a situation we were driving and just made a big play and fumbled on the end of that play where we possibly could have made it a 7-point game late in the game, and who knows at that point, but it just wasn't to be. And you can't dwell on it, you can't cry about it, and we definitely don't need to fragment it as a football team, because we're still a talented football team, even though we got some young guys, and you're starting to get in that part of the season where there's you're combating injuries and those types of things. So every team's going to go through that. So we just got to bear down and move forward. I mean, we still got a lot to play for.
And definitely one of the bright spots offensively too against Harding. Your redshirt freshman quarterback Barrett Renner, he threw 5 touchdown passes, which kind of crept up at least on me. Because the scoring back and forth, but he ended up with 5, and wound up throwing his first interception in college on the last pass, but he goes 122 pass attempts in his career before throwing that interception. So talk about him, what he's been able to do early on in this season through the first 3 games.
Well, he's definitely met our expectations. We knew when we recruited him that we thought he was a very talented quarterback. But you're coming out of a small private school out of the Dallas area, and you don't know if he's going to be able to handle the transition. Most all your college recruits are in that situation. You don't know how they're going to handle the transition from playing high school ball to college ball. He has handled the transition very well. He brings a lot to the table for us in the fact that he can run and throw. But the biggest thing he's bringing to the table to us right now as an offensive football team is his decision-making ability, and he is He's very impressive in what he's seeing and the coaching that he's taking and how he's distributing the football. We're going to be able to win a lot of games with him running the show.
Obviously going into week 4, Arkansas Tech coming up. So even though you're coming off the loss from Harding, while it's disappointing, there's still a lot of season left to play, a lot of games to prove yourselves as a team. Looking ahead to Arkansas Tech upcoming, their team you look at, they're 3-0 right now, matching their win total from last year. They're doing a couple of things differently offensively, brought in a new quarterback. Seemingly everybody in the conference is working with a brand new starting quarterback. But they've been able to find success both offensively and defensively if you look at their numbers through the first 3 games. So making the trip up to Russellville, we talked to it's not going on the road is always tough in this conference to play on the road, but what are some of the other challenges you think that Arkansas Tech poses going into this game?
Well, obviously they're a pretty good football team right now. I mean that you just look at their numbers. I mean, on one side you can go, well, they hadn't played anybody that's won any football games yet. Their 3 opponents have lost every game they've played, but they're getting the job done, and that's the bottom line to it. Irregardless, I mean, you got to play who you got to play in your league, and we're playing all league games. They're in our league. You got to be prepared each week, and they've done that, and that's a credit to them and what they've done coming back from last year, which was a very disappointing year for them. Obviously the quarterback Favor brings a lot to the table for them. They've got a whole new offensive scheme, new offensive coordinator. Patterning their offense after what Auburn does, Gus Malzahn's type offense, because their offensive coordinator came from working there as a I don't know if he was a graduate assistant or what, but anyhow, that's what they're doing offensively right now, and they got a big quarterback that can run and throw, and that's going to present problems for people. And they've got receivers they can distribute it to, and they got a bunch of young running backs. So you got to be very sound in what you do and how you attack them defensively, and make sure you keep things in front of you, and all the little things that they do with motion, trying to distract your eyes and take your eyes other places where they're not supposed to be. That's a challenge. That's the same thing that Harding does offensively. So we got a work cut out for us. I mean, to go on the road up to Russellville's been a tough place for us to play. We got our work cut out for us. Offensively, they have lost some really good players off that defense last year. I mean, they were as good a defense in the league last year, hands down, not even close. And they've lost some very good players there, but they still got good players on that defensive football team. So we got our work cut out for us, and it's just a matter of regrouping. And this is a huge game for us. It's a huge game for us, and obviously it's big for Tech too. But this is a game. If we can go up here and get us a win here, we're looking at putting ourselves in a great position as we move forward with what we got on our schedule the next few weeks. That would put us in a great position.
We appreciate it very much for your time. Again, that's head football coach Bill Keopple. He and his Mule Riders are going up to Russellville this weekend to take on Arkansas Tech. They're 3-0 on the year. The Mule Riders trying to get back on track. Kickoff 6 p.m. on Saturday. Be sure to check MuleRiderAthletics.com for all your pre- and post-game coverage of that game. Coach, appreciate it and best of luck.
Thank you, Daniel.